Greetings, my friend. Welcome to the Secret Shop.
Hello and welcome to the Secret Shop podcast. I'm your host Cymen, and with me as always is Anga. What's up?
Hello, what's popping?
The beta is popping all over the place. We'll get to that in a minute. And also joining me is Kiwi. How are you doing this week?
I'm great. Slightly overwhelmed with all the content we have that we get to have a look at.
Overwhelmed is right. Guys, have you had a chance to actually look at some gameplay? Because here's the thing, like, this beta is way more limited than I actually anticipated. Like, I was thinking a couple thousand, but it looks like we only got a couple hundred. Like, word on the street is between like 100 and maybe 300 maximum. Like, there's only 30 to 40 people online at a time.
Based on the numbers yesterday, there was 65 games going at some point, which is twice as many people. And also the post was late, and so it wasn't very good for EU time. So we figured maybe 500 people were in, maybe 300 initially. Although as of half an hour ago, they've just done the second wave of invites.
Yeah, okay. Here's the thing, dear viewer or listener. There's going to be a lot of changes even within just a week. Like, there's already the first patch out, I believe. Like, it's crazy. They are adjusting things really fast, and we're not going to be able to catch everything, but we'll keep you posted about all the most important stuff. Anga, have you been able to catch any streams or content?
I watched a little bit of Rashid's stream, but I was very busy because they had the audacity to also post the Battle Pass update yesterday. So I was
in Dota
just super... in Dota 2. So I was just... And it was huge. It wasn't just a regular TI Battle Pass either. It was the biggest one ever. So yeah, I was very caught up in that. But I did watch a little bit of Rashid's stream. So I have watched a little bit.
I think just as a side note about the Dota 2 Battle Pass, it is really huge this year. What is it, like 3 Arcanas in the Persona?
2 Personas.
Yeah, like we get Plushy Pudge, we get Female Magina.
Yeah.
I'm not going for the obvious joke here. It's amazing. We get the only king that matters back in an even more metal way than ever before. Gorgeous Wind Ranger. Of course, the Succubus is getting one. Queen of Pain. Gorgeous. They have outdone themselves this year. But more importantly, Anga, have you noticed the little teaser image for the summer event? Because it's a huge stone door. Yeah, that gate. It doesn't look like the card and artifact, but that looks like Aghanim Sanctum to me.
It looks suspiciously like it to me as well.
You think so?
I do think so. I think
there's
the
some
symbol...
definite similarities.
Yeah, and the symbol on it looks to be the Aghanim Scepter symbol. But perhaps I'm just seeing things that I want to see.
It could be. I also think because the terrain is called Sanctums of the Divine or something, so there is an overlapping word there too.
The Siltbreaker game mode that they added a few years ago was phenomenal and really underrated. And
yeah,
I'm excited to see what... Like, I haven't played Dota in ages, but I'm excited to see what the summer event will be, and that might pull me in.
All of the events are underrated because nobody seems to care when Valve made them, and then years later people are like, wherever did those events go? Volvo, what happened? Why don't we get those anymore?
Yeah.
I hope they have them all saved and one day they release them as like a pack.
Or maybe a solo RPG, who knows? Anyways, but that's Dota. Like, the biggest thing in Artifact 2.0 history has happened, so we shouldn't waste too much time talking about Dota 2. Oh my god, there's so much new stuff. Like, not only has every single card in the game been reworked, like every hero has been reworked and gotten way more interesting, but we've gotten like brand new heroes as well. It's amazing. Like, I was able to catch a few streams as well. Obviously, there's only so much you can say after only a couple hours of viewing pleasure. But to me, the game looks way more fluid in a way. Because you no longer have that rigid lane progression from left to right, playing one lane, then the next, and then that one. The game feels much more liberated that way. I personally still have some concerns, but I'll see how the beta goes before I... And I want... Here's the thing, guys. Has any of you gotten any keys? No?
No.
None of us? Look at that.
Very few people have keys. It was nice to know one person that was in, so we could do analysis of the cards.
Exactly.
Yesterday.
Yeah, so we'll be just like most of our listeners on the outside, looking in up until something changes. We'll let you know about that. And then we'll be giving more in-depth feedback for Valve as well, I'm sure. What we would like to do today is look at all the brand new heroes that we got in Artifact 2.0 thus far.
So, Dota heroes and ones that we've never heard their names before.
So, Anga, would you like to start with Lady Anshu?
Yes. So Lady Anshu is a new green hero, which has 4 attack and 4 health. She has a continuous effect ability that gives her rapid deployment, and her death effect gives allies +2 health permanently. And her signature card is Hymn of St. Krella. It slays the caster that uses the card, but it deploys all the heroes in the fountain to the first empty position in the lane that you cast it in. This is a really interesting hero and card.
I'm a huge fan of her already. My mind started exploding just reading through all the heroes. Yesterday, we did a purge analysis of having a peek through all the cards. It took a few hours, and it was nice to see them all. But there's so many things and so many different interactions between them. I really like this card. She seems strong. Having multiple rapid deploy cards is interesting and annoying, especially when there's limited slots.
I love how the signature card works so well with the hero. Because do you think the allies that get +2 health permanently, do you think that happens before?
I'm not sure about that.
So when the heroes get deployed in a lane, do they get the +2 health? Like, what happens first? Does she die
I'm not
first?
sure which one happens first.
That has to be the deal, right? Because
I would think so. Most of the things that seem like they're really strong and a nice synergy, so far, when it's been applied, it looks like that's how it works. Keep in mind, everything's been made a little bit stronger in general.
I think she dies first and boosts the people who are currently alive at the time of her passing, and then the other heroes are redeployed.
So she's brand new, right? You don't know any of her lore at all, right?
yeah, you do.
Actually,
Oh, wait, would it redeploy her? Wait, if you kill her with this, does it redeploy her?
because she dies, if you cast it on her, she dies first, right?
She dies first, and then you redeploy. So probably it doesn't buff the redeploys, but it might pull her back out?
Yeah.
That would seem strong. But also 3 mana is
Sure.
all of your mana.
But also, she does have rapid redeploy, so either way, she'll be there every round.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be a constant thing on the battlefield. That battle nun.
Battle nun.
She is, look at her. Like, you can already see it.
We're gonna be here literally all day if we go that
Nah,
slow.
but you asked, you asked about lore, though, because she is the current leader of the Ramuscu faithful.
Did we know that already?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
She's in the Ramusk Blessing. You see her from the back, and in Cleansing Rites, you see her healing axe.
Have we ever heard her name before?
We have. She is actually the one responsible for cleaning up the fields of endless carnage.
Wonderful.
And
Yeah,
Krella, or Saint Krella in the signature card, who she made the Chains of Obsession, which is Pudge's Arcana. So she's like a really old leader of the Ramuscu faithful from way back, who's like, that's why she's a saint. And that's from Dota, that's not even from Artifact.
Exactly.
So cool.
Yeah, and Necro is super salty about being thrown out of the Ramuscu faithful because he's the Pope of Pestilence now. Kiwi, would you like to tell us all about totally not virgin Anti-Mage?
Oh, yes. What a Chad. 5/4 black. He's got a passive mana break, burn 1 mana when It deals battle damage to an enemy before combat, so think gank. Or think his active ability is blink, move up to 5 slots away, deal 1 battle damage to the unit now blocking Anti-Mage. So with these limited mana pools, if you have initiative and you can lower their mana on an important turn, this is really interesting. His signature card is Mana Void, 5 mana spell, deal damage to a unit and its neighbors equal to the mana missing from the enemy player. Interesting card. Kind of hard to use, maybe. It'll be interesting to see.
I mean, if someone has already blown most of their mana, you can actually clear most of a lane with this.
For sure.
Like that affects up to 3 units with a potentially massive nuke.
But here, if you have initiative or you don't have a way to delay the turn with items and such, then it's very dead.
Yeah.
It's also quite expensive.
Because you have to wait for the enemy to use all their mana before you can use this. But you don't want to just keep passing. You need to save your own mana to actually use this. So, I don't know. Seems a bit awkward to use.
But at the very least, his Blink Strike synergizes well with his Mana Break.
I really like how they've made every hero have such wonderful synergy with their cards.
Yeah, and I find it extremely interesting how these heroes are introducing completely new mechanics to the game. Like, you know, lack of mana and redeploying heroes from the fountain. It's really interesting.
That was something that really stuck out, is their earlier blog posts were talking about how they're trying to make the game a lot easier. And then when we look through them, there's like 3 times as many keywords now. There's like anybody that complains about the game being dumbed down, I think they're barking up the wrong tree, because it doesn't seem like it at all to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people do miss the lane progression, because it was extremely different from anything we've seen in other card games. But in many ways, I thought that was more limiting than anything. Like, it is a cool concept that you have to wrap your mind around, right? And that's what makes it interesting strategically. But on the other hand, it is almost frustrating to be constantly shackled to that kind of rule set. It's actually weird to transition from Artifact 1 to Artifact 2.0, because it is almost like the weighted training clothing has been taken off, and now you can, you know, move all over the place with your cards. It's very liberating that way.
It has the same feel of Artifact, but it's definitely a different game. Your thinking from initial Artifact does not translate over extremely well. It's hard adjusting your thinking.
And I think something that people have to keep in mind, at least for this phase of the beta, is that we're not even supposed to look at heroes or balance or even card identity right now, because right now they're really just testing stability, bugs, and usability.
For sure. We've seen 2 patches already this week where they've been adjusting stats and such. Many of these things are open to change, so if something seems too strong, don't focus on it too much, because it will be adjusted if necessary.
Yeah. I must admit, one of the most triggering experiences ever since the beta has begun is what we have already discussed and foreseen in the Twitch chat, which is people coming in and being like, ugh, why is it so ugly now? Why do the cards look like they were drawn by children? And we're all like, it's a beta, guy. And they're like, that's not what a beta looks like. Have you not seen the COD beta?
That's been really frustrating for me, that some of the negative people have just shown up and are being negative some more. It's somewhat of a point of worry. We'll see how it continues in time.
Constructive criticism is always welcome, obviously. But a lot of people seem to be confronted with a real beta for the first time in their Zuma lives. So there's going to be a little bit of an adjust period for certain people, because we're going to be dealing with the Frankenboard and the wonderful temp art for a while. There have been some people who are like, man, Valve had to come out swinging with Artifact 2.0, and now we've got this, you know, half-baked beta right here. What's going on? That's what it is. We're trying to build a better game here, right?
As you said, they're focusing on certain areas of dealing with bugs and playability right now, but there's like lots of other details within the client that aren't obvious. Like the replays are fully functional already, and they said that there's an MMR system set up, which is like similar to Dota or even to Runeterra or Hearthstone, with multiple ranks, and then each rank is broken up into like 5 stars sort of thing. And that's all there behind the scenes, but you just can't see it yet. And so they're currently testing ranking up and stuff at the moment as well. It's just not visible yet.
Yeah.
So that's already an improvement over 1.0. That was something that we lacked.
Anyways, allow me to introduce my boy, Warden, the hero that was voted into the beta by popular demand.
Spoilers,
Warden...
Nyx was a scam and is not in here.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, boy.
What the hell?
Well, what can you say? You know, the winner takes it all. Anyways, Warden is a blue hero with 3 attack and 4 health. As they mentioned before, his active ability is Tempest Double. It is an active with a cooldown of 3 rounds, costs 1 mana, as they all do. Clone Warden and its equipment for 2 rounds. Clone cannot make additional clones, does not redeploy when it dies, and has no bounty if it expires. And his signature card is Spark Wraith for 2 mana. Whenever an adjacent enemy enters this lane, deal 3 damage to it and disarm it. Then slay Spark Wraith, which, by the way, is a creep card with 0 attack and 1 health. Well, first of all, I think we kind of called it that Warden copies items. I think that is extremely versatile, especially given the items that we have already seen. There's a lot of switcheroos that you could do with a couple Force Staffs or a couple Phase Boots. And there's some really powerful stuff you could do with one of the higher tier items as well.
You also called the thinking that they'd put traps in, and the Spark Wraith is sort of a trap just in the body of a creep.
Yeah, and he looks terrifying, doesn't he?
All of the art so far is great.
Yeah. The Spark Wraith does a lot, though. Like, 3 damage is a considerable chunk, and then it disarms it.
So, since last week, a lot of the heroes have been buffed by 1 health. So, for instance, Debbie has 4 health now, so Spark Wraith wouldn't quite kill her.
Well, they had to change the game just to get around my boy here. Truly terrifying. But Spark Wraith is not the only one who doubles things up. Which one of you wants to talk about Phantom Lancer?
Phantom Lancer is a red hero with 4 attack, 4 health. He has 2 abilities. One which is an aura. When Phantom Lancer is blocked, Phantom Lancer and Lancer illusions have +1 attack and +1 armor. So only when Phantom Lancer himself is blocked, his illusions have +1 attack and +1 armor.
Yeah.
And his passive ability is, after combat, he summons a Lancer illusion into the closest position. The illusion is a 2/1 creep, which after combat summons a Lancer illusion into the closest position. So yeah, that's the same as Phantom Lancer.
Aren't you happy that we don't have unlimited lanes anymore?
Yes.
That would spread fast.
By doing that, then they can do mechanics like this where they just replicate, which is cool. So the illusions are stronger in the lane with PL, and even if he's not there, they can still replicate. It's kind of like a much older version of PL, whereas illusions would just be going around the map, copying themselves.
Oh yeah, when you could literally be in several lanes at once.
Well, we saw that in their video. There was phantom illusions in all 3 lanes, although because it's a creep, then that may have just been from creep cards.
Right.
Oh, because it's also his signature card. Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of shit then.
Which part's shit? He can make them, and any red hero can play them.
Yeah, but compared to other, like, everything is stronger. Maybe an Artifact 1, this would be good, but I feel like now it's just not enough. Because they don't get the aura unless Phantom Lancer himself is there.
For sure.
And then they're kind of weak.
But they're kind of like pillagers, how they just go on forever without needing any help. Like, I think they're strong early, and maybe not super strong, but I think they're viable early, and then later on you can just use them as blockers if you want.
It's 3 mana though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
Perhaps he's not up to snuff, you think, huh?
What if the illusion dies? Does it still summon it?
No.
No, it's like a Red Mist Pillager.
It has to survive to spawn something new.
Yeah, but a Red Mist Pillager, if it attacks Burning Oil, it still summons the thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, but because that's based on hitting the tower, whereas this is based on just being alive.
Yeah, so if it attacks a melee creep and it dies to it, it still summons the illusion even though it dies.
No, because it's not alive to summon it. If Phantom Lancer was blocked and it gives it 1 armor, then it will summon. But think like you play 1, it makes a copy, then you have 2 of them. If one of them blocks, then it makes 1 other one. And if neither of them are blocked, it makes 2 more.
So playing this in another lane is just completely useless because you get owned by melee creeps.
You're also making melee creeps.
You can play it in an open position, and then the other player has to respond to it, or it will spread.
I don't know, I'm not that scared of it.
Okay. How about Mr. Dazzle here? Do you think they look scary? New green hero, 2/6. Definitely has the wrong placeholder art because it's Shallow Grave art instead of Shadow Wave. Active 2 turn cooldown. Repeat 4 times. Heal a damaged ally 1 and deal 1 damage to the closest adjacent enemy. Jump left or right to a damaged ally. So, sort of like Chain Thrust, but it heals. Kind of cool, kind of difficult to use if you only have 1 damaged ally, because it has to jump, and so if it doesn't have another one, it won't jump.
True, but even if they're full health, it will still attempt to heal and deal damage.
No, it says jump right or left to a damaged ally, so if it doesn't have a damaged ally to jump to, it won't jump. Signature card is Weave, Enchant Tower, Aura. Allies have 1 armor per round, and enemies have -1 armor per round. Dispel after 3 rounds. It's an interesting improvement, very much like his spell in Dota.
Which doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, this looks shit too.
It looks okay.
The ability is too situational, and the signature, it costs a lot, and it's good the same way Enchantress is good, that maybe for like draft or something I would get it, but I wouldn't build a deck around this or have this as a auto include in a deck.
I don't see that either. But think about, you've each killed a tower and you're fighting for the last tower. You're making your tower stronger and your opponent's weaker.
Well, but it doesn't go in the tower though, it only goes in the allies.
Sure, but you're like later on in the game, most of the slots are going to be blocked anyway.
Actually, I think it does affect tower. Isn't that your tower an ally as well? Otherwise, they would have said units.
Based on other cards I've seen, I don't think so, but I'm not sure on that.
That's too bad. But still, correct me if I'm wrong, but this keeps activating and then dispelling, right? So first it builds up rounds 1, 2, 3, 1 armor, 2 armor, 3 armor, and then it dispels. Then it starts over again, right? Or is it then just...
I don't think so. I think then the improvement dispels itself and leaves.
But I don't know, it costs too much mana for me to ever think this. Yeah, maybe if it cost less, I don't know.
Well, he is not the only one who deals with death. Let me talk to you about Death Prophet. She is a black hero, 3 attack, 3 health, with a passive ability called Spirit Siphon. At round start, if blocked, gain 2 regeneration and deal 2 damage to the enemy blocking Death Prophet.
Does that not look like one of those candy rings that you wear?
Oh, yeah, the ability icon.
Oh. Well, I think it's supposed to be... That is a ghost being sucked up by a vacuum.
Oh, okay. So it's like Luigi's Mansion.
It is. Mario. Signature card. It costs 7 mana and is Exorcism. Enchant Caster, +3 regeneration. Play effect, deal 12 damage evenly divided among adjacent enemies and their tower. At round start, repeat this effect.
This was one of my favorite new ones. She looks really strong.
Yeah, this just becomes a constant threat for the rest of the game on that hero.
For sure. And as a, imagine as a mono black finisher or something.
Yeah.
Very expensive, but also quite strong.
Especially because towers have less health now. 12, if the enemy doesn't have any way to deal with it, 12 damage to the tower.
So towers only have less health currently in Hero Draft mode, which is 30 health. In Constructed, they have 40 at the moment, but they're still adjusting those numbers. So subject to change. But I think different game modes may have different tower health. In the campaign, the first battle of the campaign, your opponent towers have 10. I actually wish I had seen more of that and could talk about it more. There's custom campaign only cards, which is really cool too.
Oh man, there's just so much content out there, seriously. Already. And the beta is just going to keep growing from here. It's fantastic. And I just can't wait for polished mode as well. Exorcism is going to look beautiful with all those ghosts attacking the units in the tower.
I hope Death Prophet looks a little more beautiful too.
Oh yeah?
She spooks me.
Oh boy. Next up is Dragon Knight. Anga, I believe it's your turn once more.
Dragon Knight is a green hero, surprisingly. I thought for sure he would be red. He's a 2/6, and he has 2 abilities. One active ability that has a 3-round cooldown, costs 1 mana, where he transforms to a dragon for 1 round. When you deal battle damage to towers or units in dragon form, give them +3 DK for 3 rounds. And then he has a continuous effect that gives him +2 regeneration. And his signature card, he has 2 actually, is Dragon Tail, which costs 2 mana, deals 2 damage, and stun an adjacent enemy. And Corrosive Breath, which is a tower enchantment that gives +3 DK to the tower.
I think this is just built into his passive from his dragon form. I don't think this is a separate card. I think this will just show on the tower when you attack a tower while in dragon form.
So attacking it basically enchants the tower with this improvement.
Yes.
Very interesting. And just like Tinker's improvement in 1.0, it has 3 charges, so it happens 3 times, and then it's just a useless improvement showing 0 on the tower.
Well, it may dispel after that and disappear.
Right. I guess that's what it is. I suppose you're right with Dazzle as well.
But what do you think if you refresh Dragon Knight's ability and use it again, like with the refresh card? Do you think that means it will stack, so there will be 2 corrosive breaths on the tower? Or do you think it will just renew the charges?
Both are possible.
I think it would basically spawn a second enchantment, right?
That's what I would think, but maybe it would just stack it on top of the same enchantment and give it more charges. So maybe they wouldn't even go at the same time. Hard to know.
Thankfully, the beta players will be able to correct us if we're wrong.
His ability is a 3-turn cooldown, though, so you'd have to refresh it somehow, which is not super doable. Maybe with Jamoy, or there's a refresher orb at 30 gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's 30 gold?
Yeah, there's 6. Oh my goodness, there's six 30 gold items, and they're all so strong, right? We only saw Nikitash's. Okay. Next up is Imperia, who has wings, maybe Vengeful's sister. She's a blue 2/6. Skullduggery is her active ability. Choose a non-item card in your opponent's hand. They discard it, then draw 1. Give Imperia plus attack equal to the discarded card's mana cost. How do you choose what card you're throwing out? Is it you just pick one but you can't see the front of it?
Perhaps.
This will have synergy with cards you can see. Oh, okay. So here's her card. Conspiracy of Ravens. Phenomenal art. Devour Feeble. So Devour is that you put it on top of a body, and then it consumes the body and gains its stats. So if you put it on a creep, it's a 1/3. But I believe you can eat heroes with them. When Conspiracy of Ravens is dealt damage, reveal a random card in your opponent's hand. So I'm guessing Imperia would be able to target any card if you can see it or not, but there's a few... we'll see other blue heroes that can reveal cards, and there's an item that reveals cards as well, and so there'll be some synergy there that you can pick a card and then use Skullduggery it, and she gets plus attack equal to its mana cost. Plus attack will not last multiple rounds, it will just be for that round.
I'm loving this. This is such an infuriating card to deal with, isn't it? Like, first she reveals cards in your hand, and then she just makes you discard it.
Blue is looking like super sneaky and obnoxious, and like they have all sorts of weird mechanics. They're kind of like a Piltover, where they just have all the weird mechanics and you're not sure how they work yet or why they're good, and then they're just going to be super obnoxious in time.
And she can become such a potential heavy hitter with that ability as well. Like, even if it's just like 6 mana, that's like 8 damage right there.
Fun fact, Bolt of Damocles has been over-nerfed, and so it's always visible in hand as soon as you draw it. So if your opponent has Bolt, if you're playing a mono-blue mirror, then you just throw out their Bolt.
Wow.
And she gets plus 10 damage.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
Pretty obnoxious. It's gonna happen.
Can you imagine you finally top deck the Bolt, and then she just yeets it?
Can we talk about Hero Draft for a bit? We
go ahead.
So we didn't discuss the video footage from midway through last week because we didn't have time to yet. New Hero Draft is just that you take turns picking a hero from the same pool. So first of all, there's a pack that opens and you see one hero from each color, and underneath it is another random hero. When you're initially starting the game, there are only heroes of the gray or base rarity and the green rarity. And so early on, you're playing against other people that are similar skill level, and so all the more complex heroes like Imperia here are not available yet. And so whoever picks first, the other person picks twice after, and it goes back and forth 2 at a time. And every 2 picks, there's a new pack. So there's some interesting things in this that you can counterpick your opponent, like getting to go twice in a row is interesting, and you see new cards. The base heroes are included in this, but one interesting mechanic is that there's only 5 of each hero color throughout the whole draft phase. And so if you want to draft mono black and your opponent takes a black hero, you're not going to be able to. The other interesting thing that was somewhat confusing in the video initially is that there was 6 hero slots, and it's just that you get to discard 1. So you draft 6 times, and then you pick 5 of them to play with, and both of you blind order your heroes how you want, and then you start the game, and it will put 20% of your deck, like disregarding the base cards that get put in from your hero. The rest of your deck will be 20% of each color you have. So if you're all black, it'll put 100% black cards. If you have 2 black heroes and 1 of each other one, you'll have 20, 20, 20, 40% black.
But it will be random cards?
It's random cards, kind of like random 2 color from what I've seen. And also random items. So this is a really nice introduction to the game where you can't be overwhelmed by too many cards. You get to see cards and interact with them. It seems like it's, I don't know, from the looks of it, it seems like the cards they give you are useful. Maybe it's just that more of the cards are useful than we're used to. But it seems really cool. I like it as an introduction to the game. And then, so that's what they're mostly working on in the beta right now, is they ask people to prioritize playing Hero Draft even though the other game modes are open.
Yeah. So, I believe it is my turn.
Yeah, you get the best art so far.
Yeah, the one with the greatest Twitch emote value, which is Lina, everyone's favorite sister, don't at me. Lina is a blue hero with 2 attack and 5 health, and she has the passive ability of Fiery Soul. The first time you play a blue spell or enchantment from this lane, deal damage to Lina's combat target equal to the number of charges on Fiery Soul and add 1 charge to Fiery Soul. So this just keeps building up.
It builds up once per turn. You can't build it multiple times in a turn. And it also has to be from that lane, and it has to be blue.
Yeah.
Yes, but the next round she's going to have that charge already, and you're going to add a second one. So it's going to be more damage every round with every first blue spell or enchantment you play.
So since it says deal damage to Lina's combat target, does that only mean units or does that mean tower too?
That will mean tower 2, whoever she's across from directly.
Whatever her target is. But what's even more interesting about her is her signature cards. Because instead of getting 3 of one signature card, she gets 1 of 3 different signature cards. One of them being Light Strike Array, which costs 2 mana, and you stun and deal 1 damage to a unit. Her second signature card costs 3 mana, and it's Dragon Slave. Have you seen that Rick and Morty episode? Anyways. Deal 3 piercing damage to an enemy, and 1 piercing damage to its allied neighbors. So a little bit of AoE right there. And her third signature card is actually her ultimate. For 4 mana, Laguna Blade. Deal 5 piercing damage to a unit. This is a lot of versatility, but also not a lot of consistency here.
I like it conceptually, but I don't think it's super strong. I think it's cool. I want it to be really good, but I don't think it is because, like Kiwi mentioned earlier, having 1 of each makes it more random which one you get, so you can't really plan around always having her signature card on your hand. And her passive ability means that you will have to play blue cards in her lane every round to ramp it up for later rounds. So yeah, I don't think it looks that strong.
I don't know how strong it looks. The randomness of it is maybe bad, but it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. It'll be a little bit annoying for your opponent to play around because they'll have to play around all 3 of these cards in your deck, whereas each of them will be useful to the owner of the cards. Like they're a little bit versatile, and you can use them differently in different ways. Like none of them are straight up bad cards, and so having like good players having to plan around all 3 of them is going to be really annoying.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see how Lina ramps up as a hero. I think she'll for sure make her way into mono blue decks and Constructed.
Definitely a bit of a two-edged sword to have so much variety to your signature cards. But I wonder, like, do you think this is actually her gimmick? Like, she gets 3 different signature cards, or are Valve just testing 3 different signature cards?
I think currently their plan is that it's 3 different ones, and that's the gimmick. But I could
hopefully,
if people complain, that maybe they'll pick one. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah,
it's an interesting concept.
Definitely. So, Anger, would you like to talk about Pierpont?
Yes. Pierpont is a 1 attack 6 health hero with an Inspect ability, which has a 2-round cooldown, costs 1 mana. Increase mana cost of 2 random cards in your opponent's hand by 1. Reveal them, and it's... What's Quick Cast again?
Quick Cast is initiative, so you just get to go again.
Isn't that Quick? Did they change it to Quick Cast?
No, it's Quick Cast.
But what's
Quick
Quick
was Old Lion's alt going down 1 cooldown every time you use it.
No, but she's right.
But
it used to be called just
card.
Quick, and now it's Quick Cast.
Oh, okay. Don't mind me then.
But they did change it again.
Everything is subject to change, right?
Yeah, okay,
Pretty
whatever. So this is obvious synergy with Imperia already. Because it increases the mana too, so... and reveals them, so... and then his signature card is Sapphire Archon, which has Pierce. Sapphire Archon has a -1 mana cost per revealed card in opponent's hand, and it's a 6/6 creep. So I love this. I think this.
Yeah?
I already want to make a blue card reveal deck now. This looks so interesting.
Yeah. And I love how it's literally the magic police.
Yeah.
There's a Gem of True Sight on 20 gold, which reveals your opponent's hand at the start of a round. And so it shows literally all the cards except the one they draw that turn because it's after the round start. But that immediately makes this card free, which is pretty ridiculous.
But it looks like they haven't quite decided what Pierpont actually looks like. At least Vanessa, which we'll talk about in a little bit, has had her design already revealed on past cards in Artifact 1.0, but Pierpont we haven't seen anything of.
So can you fill us in on the Pierpont lore, please?
He's basically Vanessa's, or she used to be his apprentice, I think. And he's also part of the Sapphire Archons, which are like the magic authority in the world outside of Weeping Rose. So Weeping Rose is its own magic thing where they have a bit looser rules concerning magic. Like people are allowed to do a bit different things, but and they also work with Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden isn't part of them, but she works with them in the north.
Yeah,
basically.
Because she's like the Warden of the North.
Yeah.
And when was the first time we heard mention of Pierpont?
In artifact cards, and I believe there's one voice line in Dota, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe there's actually more, because Pierpont is also the one who came up with the treaty with Classireme, which made chronomancy against the law. So no more time magic fuckery, thank you very much.
So he's like a really, really powerful mage.
Yeah.
Probably
like,
old.
Even the Faceless Void respects him, actually. So he's got to be a big deal.
That's cool. I thought I'd heard mention of him in the, like, Valve leftover secret resources or something.
Oh yeah, the
Okay.
Wolf artwork.
Yeah, okay. Let's dive into that real quick. Basically, a lot of Dota 2's designs, when it comes to heroes and some creeps, and even Solar Khan actually, came from unused resources which Valve had accumulated for an RPG project that they were working on around the time of 2010 or something. And then they decided to reuse a lot of that work, a lot of those designs for Dota 2. And from that time, we saw a couple campaign posters, you know, in the way that they had for Left 4 Dead, which revealed the names of Pierpont, Vanessa, and Mazzy. And we already got Mazzy, and now we're getting Vanessa and Pierpont.
There's also Jolixia, Losel, and Nog. So there's many of the... Basically, there's more of his art that was unused that's now being used than what hasn't been used. So it's very likely that all of it is going to be.
So all 4 of the new heroes here that weren't in Dota are all in the Dota universe already, like we knew of them?
No, not in the Dota universe. It was an untitled fantasy game, so it had nothing to do with Dota.
No,
it
but
was
I mean,
just
like, in general, all 4 of these new heroes are from the Valve universe already.
Yeah, if Imperia is Vengeful's sister, all of other than her, all of them have already been mentioned.
So she's the least known one, or the one we know least about?
Yeah.
And Vanessa was already on cards such as the Rune of Confusion and so on. She's a very, free-thinking wizard.
Well, I thought we were going alphabetically. Why was PL so early? Anyway.
Don't worry about that.
Next is Rick's Oathbound.
Ooh.
This is super exciting on many levels. So this is Rick's after he takes the oath, apparently. And this is the first colorless card we see. So you can play him in any deck. And it's the first time we see a second version of a hero, which leads us to wonder if there's going to be secondary versions of multiple heroes, probably in later prints.
Yeah, probably later on.
So he's got 2 passives. One is that he's oathed, so he has +3 attack, which is a continuous effect, and he's silenced. And the other is Assault. Rapid deployment. On deploy, give your other allies +1 siege. So every time he dies, you can give allies in your lane +1 siege. There's some nice synergy with some of the heroes we've already seen here and many of the other ones.
Is it permanent? So do you give them 1 siege permanently, or is it only while he is there?
Oh, good point.
They don't say anything about it being only while it's there.
All bonus effects are for that turn unless specified that they're permanent.
Yeah.
So you're right, it's only for this turn. Okay, so you can't stack them. That's more balanced.
So you better keep killing him, because he has rapid redeployment, and then you can just switch your angle of attack to another lane and give those people more siege damage.
To clarify, you want the owner of the card to be killing him. His signature card is the Twisted Path. Enchant Tower, active 1 mana, 1 turn cooldown. Choose an ally. It battles the enemy tower. Slay that ally. Intriguing. I feel like he's going to be obnoxious in black decks. Black, when we get the chance to look through all the creeps, they have so many ways to deal tower damage without interacting with the player, and I think tower decks are going to become really obnoxious. Although Constructed being 40 health towers makes that a little better. Oh, that was something else I didn't mention is Ancients only have the same health as towers now. So when you kill a tower, the Ancient behind it has the same amount of health, which makes sense because lanes can't go wide, and that was usually how we would do Ancients before.
Yeah.
That is really interesting. You can basically toss one of your allies at the tower, and then it just fucking dies.
Just like Corpse Tosser.
Yeah. Oh my god, it looks like I'm lucky once again in the order, because I get to talk about Rubick, who is a blue hero with 2 attack and 5 health, and his active ability is Telekinesis. Active every 2 rounds, costs 1 mana. Swap an enemy to another position, and Quick Cast. So that's actually an ability which gives you initiative. Very powerful, potentially. But the real meat, okay? The real meat is his signature card, which costs 3 mana. It's his iconic Spell Steal. Put a copy of the last non-item card your opponent played into your hand. That card is now blue and costs 3. Also, Quick Cast. Spell Steal is in, guys. You can steal.
Pretty crazy.
You can steal another player's card. It becomes blue, so even Rubick can cast it, and the mana cost is either reduced or raised to 3. That's high value.
If your opponent plays Time of Triumph, you get basically a 6 mana Time of Triumph.
Wow, that's actually insane.
Apparently Rubick's really strong, and you can splash him into any deck just because of how Spell Steal works and because of how Telekinesis works. He has nice synergy with heroes such as Sven, who has 100% cleave now. And so you just move the Sven around, so whoever blocks him, then you cleave them instead and hit the tower, and things like that.
How does his ability synergize with his signature card?
That's a good question. I don't think it does.
I mean, it gives you Quick Cast.
Yeah, it could just be used for initiative. It can be used for, like, I'm seeing lots of synergy with red heroes, like with Call on Axe or with Keef's Stop Hitting Yourself. You move the Keef to a good position and then, or your opponent. Oh no, it's not an enemy, but still.
In a way, it's the perfect utility spell, right? It's the perfect utility ability. It supports a lot of other heroes, and it gives you Quick Cast, so you can do something else alongside it.
Yeah, you chain it, say with Call or with Vacuum or something like that, and do both of them one after the other without your opponent having a chance to interact with them.
I think it's just so crazy that you can spell steal and use the stolen spell in the same, not just the same round, but like your same turn. Absolutely powerful.
Thanks, that is now mine.
I made this.
Precisely.
Anger, would you like to talk about Sand King?
Sand King is a 3 and 7 green hero who has a Burrow Strike, which has 4 on cooldown, costs 1 mana. Move up to 4 sets away in any lane. Stun and deal 1 damage to the new adjacent enemies. Cross lane. That's his ability. And his signature card, I love the art for Sandstorm. Cost 3 mana. Give enemy units +2 DK. Randomize their combat targets, preferring units over the tower. Oh, preferring units over the tower. Oh.
So combat targets is arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. This is one of the few random effects we see.
I don't like this.
He looks kind of weird to me. Also, Burrow Strike is a 4-turn cooldown. The only thing that I've seen that's longer, 4 or longer, is Ravage is 5.
Yeah, I don't know. Green just looks kind of weak.
You haven't seen nothing.
Oh.
Just you wait. Green looks broken as hell, but not Sanking. Or Dazzle. Or Dragonite.
Here's the thing, right? Sandstorm is clearly for like ramp and other, delay-based control decks and so on. Because Sandstorm just prevents the enemy from hitting your tower. It just makes them re-aggro to the units if they're close enough, and that will save your tower instead. So
it kind of does like taunts.
It's like a mass taunt.
That makes sense, but also doesn't seem super strong. But like the main game mode at the moment is hero draft, so you'll be trying different heroes once you get to blue unlocked, which isn't initially.
So what about his ability Burrow Strike? Do you think it's powerful enough to warrant a cooldown of 4 rounds?
Think of it like old Earthshaker Fissure. Like it's a stun and you choose where you stun. But it is really strong.
But it's only 1 unit. Oh, it's enemies. Oh.
It stuns 3, I believe.
Oh.
But it is only 4 slots away, but still it's pretty strong. And like keep in mind you can always displace creeps and kill them if you need to, which does tend to happen a lot later in the game from what I've seen.
Yeah. Just clean up. Kiwi, would you like to talk about Tiny then?
Amazing art, of course. I believe there's alternative art for him growing too. So grow, active ability, 3-turn cooldown, 1 mana, gain 4 attack and 4 health permanently. So he truly starts off tiny and then becomes enormous.
Humongous, one might say.
His signature is Toss. 4 mana, choose caster, move another unit to an empty slot up to 5 slots away from the caster. Deal 1 damage to the new neighbors your opponent controls.
That's going to look gorgeous, I think.
I'm not quite sure what to think of this yet. Mobility is nice in red. Like red having... Like, I could see this being a 5-position hero in mono red very easily. Giving red the ability to have mobility is nice. And like, Timbersaw's a big chunky boy too. So having 2 red heroes with ability for mobility is good.
I feel like there's going to be certain units that you really want to toss. I feel like there's some synergies that we don't see yet.
Yeah, I would think so.
Units that have like upkeep things. I can't remember which, but there are some that have like the start of the round, blah blah, adjacent enemies.
But this won't trigger start of round stuff.
Oh yeah, true, because it's all this lanes at the same time. Yeah.
But say you throw a defenestrating ogre, would that do it?
No, because it's play effect, right?
I think so. So I haven't seen any synergies yet, but I also imagine we're just missing them and haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. Does it count as playing them when you toss them over there?
No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Would be cool though.
Yeah, we'll see.
What else is cool is Tusk finally in here. I just hope that when you play him in the same lane as Bristleback, that they just never stop shit-talking each other. Just never stop. Just let those 2 voice actors sit in the booth for an hour. Just let them go at it. Tusk is a red hero with 4 attack and 7 health, and his active ability is Walrus Punch, of course. Active every 3 rounds, costs 1 mana. Double Tusk's attack this round. So I assume that you can buff up his attack even more, so Walrus Punch just doubles up whatever you give him.
For sure.
His signature card is interesting because there's 2 cards that are important here. One is 2 mana Ice Shards. Deal 1 damage to an enemy and displace it with an ice shard, which is the other ice shard, which is a creep.
What does displace mean?
It's like force staff. Move it left or right by one.
Yep. So that enemy is damaged by 1, and then it's displaced to some other open board spot and replaced with an ice shard, which is a creep card with 0 attack and 1 health and feeble. So now you basically force the summoning of this weak creep, and then you damage it, and whatever else you have in damage over 1 health is splashing over to the tower. So you can just move away that big boy blocker and replace it with a feeble ice shard.
This looks so weak. His active ability is the same cooldown as Tiny, but it's only temporary, and it's not even his health too, it's only his attack. And
Yeah, but
while
he's
you
got...
can...
Look at his stats compared to Tiny's base stats. Tiny's a 2-3 to start with. He's a 4-7.
Yeah, but his signature card just doesn't do much. It just guarantees you can hit the tower, but it doesn't do much more.
Yeah, it seems weird to me as well. I'm surprised this is a basic card, because I feel like Ice Shards is going to be something that sees play more on the top ends of play, or sees utility there anyway.
This is potentially powerful. You know how thirsty people are for tower damage.
I don't know, I don't see this fitting in anything that
Black
I currently
decks.
know at least.
Black-red. Let's do it.
Maybe. Sounds like a stretch. I'm not convinced.
Okay.
That's
Well,
fine. Anything that sucks will be adjusted.
Anger, do you think Underlord is any stronger?
Ooh, Underlord is a green hero with 3 attack, 8 health. He has a 3 cooldown, 1 mana cost ability that lets him move all your heroes in this lane to another lane. And his signature card is Atrophy Aura, which you enchant a unit, and it gets an aura which makes enemies up to 2 slots away have -1 attack, and when one dies, gain +1 attack permanently. So the enchanted unit gain +1 attack permanently.
Yes.
Yeah, this looks crap.
What? Really?
Wait,
I was
what?
like, I was gonna say, do you still think green looks awful? And then
Okay. I spoke too soon. His ability looks good. Like situationally,
Okay.
if you're stuck in a lane, you've already taken the tower, you want to move to a different tower, I don't know.
But you don't
looks
like
okay.
Atrophy Aura?
Oh my god.
No.
All right.
Anger, we might need to reassess our friendship.
What do you value
It's
in a
okay.
card?
I value something that guarantees you can actually do something and actually win. This is just, it seems too... It doesn't actually have a game plan, you know?
What?
I'm noticing
The
a
game
theme that Anger likes blue heroes and their abilities a lot more.
Yeah, because
Right.
blue actually has a game plan. You do stuff.
Okay, but
This just
think
doesn't
about
do
Atrophy
anything.
Aura. This immediately makes you like a tree. Your creep trades their creep for free, and you
yeah,
get
that's
+1
true.
attack, and you've got 8 attack to begin with. By the end of the game, you're gonna have like 8 or 10 or more, plus your weapon. He's gonna be so thick, and then he can move whoever he wants to another lane.
Yeah, okay.
Also, look at this art. Look at him. He's like a angry slug or whatever he is. What more could you want from a hero?
Wait, so on his signature card, is that him in the middle, smiling? Because that doesn't work with his anatomy.
No.
And who's that next to him?
I don't know.
His anatomy is too difficult for MS Paint.
Yeah.
Okay? Give
you
these
have to, like-
artists a break.
That's just looking at from the front. You can't see his thickness behind and his like 6 butts.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I've thought about it now more. You have convinced me. This does look kind of good.
Nice.
Because it's not just adjacent enemies, it's up to 2 slots away.
Mm-hmm.
And you can enchant any unit. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it does look good.
And like when it comes to movement, you can fake out people so much by just moving your whole line up to another lane.
So that's something we didn't mention from the video. That so one of my previous concerns was worrying about offlane versus safe lane, or like dire versus radiant advantage, and they addressed that in the video last week, saying that combat resolves from left to right and then right to left on alternating turns, and it's quite obvious in the client. You can see below each tower it says which one will resolve first, and so the game kind of has this weird pacing where if you can drag out an extra turn in a lane, then you get like 2 more attacks on the tower on a side lane. Like, it does some really interesting things, and so we see the mobility of blink scrolls and stuff being utilized consistently, and it's really good.
Would you like to talk about Vanessa then?
I would. Vanessa is a 1/7 blue hero. Her ability is Versatile Occultist. 2 turn cooldown, reduce the mana cost of 2 random cards in your hand by 1, change their color to blue. Interesting. And it's quick cast, so it doesn't give initiative away.
Wait, random among your entire hand, or only cards that aren't already blue?
Random in your entire hand, also including items. Her signature card is Void Theft. Choose caster. Turn a non-item card from your opponent's hand and create a blue copy in your hand that costs 1 mana less. Replace theirs with an Eidolon. And I believe an Eidolon is a 1 mana 0/1 or a 1/1 maybe? I think it's a 0. I'm not sure.
That's so interesting. Just stealing a card and giving them like a shitty blocker.
And they lose the card.
Yeah. Like it's literally stealing it. I mean, at least Rubick is only borrowing spells usually, but this is actual theft.
Eidolons are 1/1s.
I'm not sure about her ability. Reduce the mana cost of 2 cards in your hand by 1 and change their color to blue. I don't know, it just seems too... You can't plan around it. You can't really play around that.
I mean, depending on the number of cards in your hand.
Is she the... I mean, it's pay 1 mana, reduce cards by 2. It's okay, but not great. Is she depicted in the comics?
Not in the comics. She is the black girl in what's it called? The Glyph.
Yeah, Glyph of Confusion.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She doesn't look that strong to me. She looks kind of odd. I mean, her card is good, sure, but do you put her in a deck just to play that card? Don't know.
I mean, cards which only cost 1 mana, which also includes all item cards which cost 1 mana to play, those would become free. So
yeah, but you're paying 3 mana, so that doesn't make it good. And if you're stealing a 1 mana card, it's usually not helping you a lot.
Well, no. I mean, just her ability. Reduce the mana cost of 2 random cards in your hand by 1, change the color to blue. If that hits some items in your hand, those become free actions.
But how do you change an item card to blue?
It just changes the color on it.
Yeah, but item cards don't have colors.
Yeah, it's weird.
No. So if it's not... No, because her card is choose a non-item card. You don't steal items.
Yeah, and it clearly says 2 random cards. It doesn't just say 2 random spells or enchantments. It's weird. We'll see about that, I suppose.
All right. So that's all the new heroes. However, we haven't had a look at all the old heroes, which have all been changed.
Yeah, some of which have gotten extremely interesting. For
sure. Most of them have been changed. As well, there's 5 heroes from Artifact 1 that are missing, which are Mazzy, Viper, Vadin, Lion, and...
Lycan?
No, I think a blue one. I don't remember the 5th one. But they are somebody that's in the... or that has been playtesting already said that they're under the impression they're going to be added back in. They just haven't finished being balanced yet. Or adjusted or something. So probably expect all of the artifact heroes we had already, plus these. It kind of looks like we've got a large chunk of set 2 being added to the game as well.
A couple of the new cards actually don't have MS Paint art, but they actually use professional art that they had stocked up, apparently.
As well, some of the ones that do have MS Paint art in the client, they have their small icon is actual art, and so that indicates it as well.
Guys, that's just way too much to talk about. Like, we were only able to talk about all the completely new heroes, all the new faces to Artifact in this episode, and we're already like at over an hour or something. Like, there's going to be a lot of content coming your way in the coming weeks for sure.
Agnes was the other one I forgot.
There you go. Is there anything else you guys would like to say about these new faces to the game?
Love it.
I'm just looking forward to all the lore.
I like how many we have. I mean, here we're beyond an hour already and have discussed such a small fraction of what's been released this week.
Oh, but haven't you heard? It's hardly different.
Does people actually say that? Who says
Oh
that?
my god.
You don't want to know what people are saying. People show up in the streams and are angry that the game is so ugly. They're like, how did they make artifacts so ugly?
How are these people sent? I almost don't believe they're sentient. They have to be bought, right? Nobody thinks like that.
No, there's people who are very opinionated about that stuff. They thought that Artifact 2.0 would have to come out as a completely polished game to turn any heads at all.
The amount of complaints about things that are placeholders triggers me on a daily basis.
Yeah, like literally not even understanding what they're seeing. They're like, what the hell? Why are the cards like they're painted by children? What happened to Valve?
Why are the mana coins look like they're from Hearthstone? Valve, please.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane. Well, but we're of course just jealous that we're not in the beta.
Yeah.
I won't pretend like I'm not.
Yeah.
We'll all be in time.
Nice. You just got in with the second wave then?
No.
Oh, okay.
You think I'd be recording this if I was in? We'd be screen sharing and looking through the cards.
Exactly. But once we do, we're going to be doing something very similar to that, I'm sure. All right, guys, as we put our foot out the door, is there something that you guys have concerns about after watching some of that gameplay?
I have a very big concern. I'm losing sleep over it because I know there's only a matter of time before they're going to reintroduce the imps. And I just hope I can get in the beta before they're put back.
Mm-hmm.
That is my concern.
For you. Kiwi, how about you?
Well, I'm a little concerned about the community views and stuff, but I'm just going to leave that and not overthink it much. I'm a little concerned about game length and timing and the fact that there's only one draw per turn, which had been mentioned. Like the pacing of the game seems a little bit different, and watching games seemed a little odd to me. However, they have tried with more card draw in the past, and like it seems that one fits how the game is at the moment and the pacing with that. And when we look through the cards, there are a lot of cards that can give card draw, and so that may not be relevant, but I'm a little concerned about it. We'll see how it goes, and I mean, if it's a problem that everybody feels similarly about, then they're completely adjusting things that need adjusting. So anything that anybody's worried about gets shifted. So we'll see.
The only reason why there was 2 card draws in Artifact 1 was because you had so much mana to use, though. So now with only 1 mana pool, do you really need to draw 2 cards still?
Well, if the game's going up to, like, say, mana 12, they won't be right now, but when Artifact 1 came out, Thunderhide Alpha had something ridiculous, like a 65% win rate, because people never held resources for blocking it, and it just won the game every time it was played, right? And this will be the same, that people aren't playing around things very well, and then as we settle into the game and get more comfortable with it, people will be able to balance their resources and stop games ending, and so games will go longer. So when they start going longer, if games are going to say mana 12 or mana 14, you're going to run out of cards in lots of cases. However, there's good card draw mechanics like Cloak of Endless Carnage and Omex Arena and stuff that we haven't looked at yet. So I think I'm more concerned about it than how much of an issue it is, but I was initially worried about that, and we'll see how that goes.
Awesome.
What I'm looking forward to is I've had very little look at the campaign so far, and I'm excited to see more of that.
What I am looking forward to is all the new imp animations, for one.
Shut up!
I hope there's going to be a new animation for when you bounce a hero back to your hand by playing another one on top of it. I hope that the imp dives in there and saves the hero from being smashed by the other hero. Oh yeah, put in some new imp animations.
I hope there's imp emotes and you can like stick your tongue out at your opponent to BM anger when she's losing.
Oh my god, make the imps floss dance. Yes.
Epic gaming time.
Epic. So
That's what the gamers like.
Yeah, something that I'm personally a little bit, well, not concerned about, but maybe I still have to get used to it. But I actually do not like the way that they changed armor. I actually don't like that armor is now just this second pool of regenerative health, basically. I really miss the way that armor interacted with different attackers, basically. But that is it for now. I still have to get way more footage into my brain, criticize on a higher level.
I'd felt similar on it, but watching it, there's a lot more room for balancing things better, and lots of things that were broken before, like Time of Triumph, don't seem broken anymore. And so I think it is for the best. It's just different and new.
Yeah. I suppose we are moving towards the end of this episode, or this part of this episode. Kiwi, would you like to tell people where they can find your stream, just in case you get a beta key?
I'm on Twitch at Kiwi_streaming. I've been playing lots of tabletop sim board games, but now that Artifact is here, I don't know about that. I may be practicing Underlord duos this week and relearning the patches for a tournament on Saturday, but we'll see. And then as soon as I'm in the beta, I'll be streaming Artifact every day.
Hell yeah. And what about you, Anger? Where can people find your content? And by the way, I've been hearing and seeing that you've been cooperating with Tyler McVicker of Valve News Network.
Yep, I am now his dedicated Dota IP reporter, so anything Dota, Underlords, or Artifacts, I will, it's because he's very busy with like Half-Life and stuff, so I will help him out with all Dota stuff. So even though he is very deep into Artifacts and Underlords, but he never really got into Dota 2, so it's time that he also covers Dota 2 on his channel, since it is Valve News Network. Yeah, so that's very fun. But if you want to find, so on Valve News Network, I report on Dota, Artifact, and Underlords news. But if you want my own personal content, I'm on youtube.com/angermania, where you can find lore videos, and I very occasionally stream on twitch.com/anger_. And you can find our producer, megaRammy, on Twitter and Twitch at megaRammy.
Absolutely fantastic. And you guys can find me on Twitter at Cymen90. Thank you so much for listening and watching. See you next week.
Thank you. Thank you for your business. Come again.